So in this video, we're going to go over the new horizontal stand. So this horizontal stand holds just one panel, so it'll either hold the Shorty or the XL. If you wanted to do two panels, top and bottom, then you would have to get the larger horizontal stand. So what we'll do is just quickly go over all the different parts that you're going to have. And what you can do is just unbox these. You can put these right out on the floor just like I've got them. And then we can walk through each one. So we'll start off with the base plate. That's going to go along with the left and right brackets here. We've got the 4 wheels. We've got 3 tubes. We've got the larger tube, the skinnier tube that goes inside of it, the horizontal tube. Then we've got the adapter piece. On the panel will go the 2 square brackets, the 2 U-shapes. And then for all the nuts and bolts here, important to note, we've got 4 of the longer pieces. They're just a little bit longer than these. So just make sure that we have these separated. And then we have 4 shorter pieces. And then we have 8 of the shortest pieces here. Then we have the star screws, 4 of these. And then we have 8 of the nuts. Now, we have 2 different types of washers. Although they look the same, one of them has a larger interior hole and the other one is smaller. And then we have our tools. We have the smaller Allen wrench, the larger, and then the wrench there that'll be for the wheels. So we'll go ahead and start putting these together step by step, and you can just do it right along with me. Okay, so we'll go ahead for step 1, and we're going to put the base together. So we got our base plate, our centerpiece, and then we've got our left and right brackets. Now just make sure that you guys got these right side up. It should just be the 2 holes, because on the underside, we want to be able to put the wheel. So don't accidentally put it this way, okay? Make sure all you've got is 2 holes, and then they'll align with these 2 holes here. Right, now over here, we're going to have our 4 longest screws. We're going to have our smaller Allen wrench. We're going to have 8 of the larger washers. We're going to have 4 of the nuts, and then we'll have the wheels and the wrench. So we'll go ahead and start. We'll place 1 washer in first. Insert that thoroughly into the hole. On the other side, you'll add the second washer, and then you'll add the nut, and you can just go ahead and finger tighten all 4 of these first, and then we'll tighten them afterward. Okay, now that you got all the screws in, then you go ahead and take the smaller Allen wrench, just hold on to the nut, and we'll just slightly tighten them up. Again, just snug is all we need. We don't need to over tighten anything here. Once we've got that, we'll go ahead and turn this over. Now we're on the back side of this. Now these are very easy. We'll just go ahead and screw each wheel in. Now you notice each wheel has a locking feature to it. Once I can get this in, we'll be ready to go. It'll never be necessary to lock up all 4 wheels, but the 2 wheels that are going to be closer to you, easily just pull up, and now that wheel is locked in place. Once you got that wheel on, take the wrench, slide it right underneath there, and then you can just, again, just tighten it just snugly, and that's all you need. So go ahead, do the other 3 and do the same. Good. So for the second step, we'll go ahead and put the telescoping vertical tubes on. So what we've got in this, we've got our base, we've got our large tube, we've got our skinnier tube that will slide inside of this. We've got 5 of the smallest screws. We've got 7 of the skinnier washers, the ones with the smaller internal diameter. And then we have 2 of the star screws. So first thing we'll do, we'll go ahead and place this on. Now we want to just make sure we have this the right way. So all these holes here will be facing the longer legs here. So again, we're going to go ahead and take a screw, take one washer, and we'll go ahead and place it in here. We'll go ahead and screw this in. And we're going to go ahead and take that same Allen wrench to tighten this up. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one is actually underneath at the bottom. So what you just do is go ahead and lean this back, and you see the hole right here. You'll go ahead and get the screw, put the washer in first. It'll go through here and it'll screw into that large tube. Good. Okay, now that we have all these inserted, go ahead and you're going to take your smaller Allen wrench and just make sure each one of these is nicely snug. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth one on the bottom. Again, it's just easier just to tip this back to go ahead and get that fifth one in there. All right, now we'll come up and we'll go ahead and take the skinnier tube. Now we just want to make sure we got 2 small holes here, 2 larger holes here. We're going to be inserting the smaller holes first. We're going to go ahead and bring this down and just keep on going. Now, the height is going to depend on really what you're laying on. So for now, we're just going to do the 4th and the 6th hole. Sometimes it may be easier to have a second person there to hold this in place. I've got the washer in the star screw. And I'll go ahead and screw both of these in. So for the next step, we're going to go ahead and put on the horizontal tube with the adapter. So we're going to need the adapter, the horizontal tube, 4 nuts, the 4 slightly shorter screws that go along with the larger Allen wrench, and then we're going to have 8 of the washers with the larger central hole. Okay, we'll go up. First step is you'll go ahead and put on the adapter. This will line up with the holes. They won't drop in all the way. You got to have enough room for the horizontal tube to go through. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and take the longer screws. And we'll go ahead and place 1 washer through first. Then on the back side, you go ahead and put in that second washer and the nut. Do that again on this one here, and then we'll take the large Allen wrench and we'll tighten this up. So now we'll go ahead and put on the horizontal piece. Just important to put it in the right direction. The big holes are going to go towards the back and line up with the holes here. Make sure you have the small holes pointed up towards the ceiling. So we'll slide this on, align the holes, and same thing, you're going to have the washer in first, all the way through. Go ahead, put the washer on here, screw on the nut. You'll put on the one in front of it and snugly tighten with the larger Allen wrench. Okay, so at this point, we want to try to get the height correct, because if we've got a large panel that's somewhere around 30, 35 pounds, it's not going to be easy to adjust it up and down. So what we want to do is try to get it set the first time before we put the panel on there, and then we don't have to adjust it anymore after that. So depending on if you're using a massage table, chiropractic table, or you're using your bed, let's try to get this adjusted now. Now, what we know is right here at the bottom, this is going to be right about where the surface of the panel is. We want to have about 12 inches between the surface of the panel and the top of your body. So if you're lying down in this direction, you want the highest part of your body to be about 12 inches below this level right here. So try to get this adjusted as close as you can before we go ahead and do the next step. Okay, for the next step, we'll go ahead and add the brackets to the panel. So we're going to have our two square brackets and then our two U-shapes. So I've already put this together. So what we're going to have is the medium-sized screws along with the larger diameter washers. And then we're going to have the smaller screws with the smaller diameter washers. So we'll go ahead and put this bracket here. Make sure that these are going parallel. We don't want these perpendicular. That would be a problem. So we're going to put it, align it with the holes here. Make sure that the two smaller holes are all pointed upward. We'll go ahead and take the medium-sized screw with the larger washer. Once these are screwed in, we'll go ahead and take the larger Allen wrench and we'll get these tightened up nice and snug. Once those are tightened up, we'll go ahead and put in the U shape. So we're going to use the smaller screw, the smaller diameter washer. Now with this one, we don't want to tighten this yet. We're going to save that for the next step because we have to have enough room to slide this through the horizontal tube piece. There we go. Okay, so again, if you need to tighten it up with this just to get it going, go ahead. We want to leave just a little bit of space there to be able to have enough room to slide this in. Good. All right, now this is where it's helpful to have a second person. Okay, these panels are heavy. So now that everything's hooked up, what we're going to go ahead and do is slide it into the horizontal tube. I'd prefer that you had the electric plug already in there, and that way it's nice and snug. You don't have to try to force it in there while this is hanging off of the stand. So, okay. Now we have two sets of holes here, so we can align it to the ones further out, just depending on what you're lying on, or we can slide it into there. We'll just do it on this one. I prefer it to go on the inside one if possible. Now, we'll go ahead and balance that. And then we'll take our last two washers and our last two star screws. Again, really not something that you want to be doing yourself if possible. And lining these up with this kind of way, as you can see, is not the easiest thing to do. So you go ahead and screw both of these on. Good. Okay. Now, one thing I want to really point out, this is obviously important, is we've got the display. If it's on the side, you want to make sure that the display is pointing outward. You don't want the display on the side of the stand. So this way you have easier control over this. If the display is on the surface of it, then it really doesn't matter. So again, now we'll go ahead and put the second screw in. Sometimes you got to put a little bit of pressure just to get it started. And then we'll go ahead and turn this. And again, just snug. We don't need to overdo it here. Now, we still got to tighten up these 4 screws here. So go ahead, you'll use a smaller Allen wrench. And also important, before I put this on, I locked the wheels. Particularly if you've got to do it by yourself. You don't want to be trying to slide this in and then you've got that the stand moving on you. So everything is tight here. We've got this level. Now you can see here, again, you want about 12 inches from the top of your body. So if I'm lying down right here, I want to either have my stomach or my forehead right around in this area so we have the right distance. So again, really important to get this set up first, because now that we got this heavy weight on here, in order to change this, I would literally need someone to hold this up while I unscrew this and then lift it up or lift it down. So once you have it set, you really don't want to be messing around with it just because it's difficult and it weighs a lot. All right, but this is a really nice smaller version of our horizontal stand that's perfect for either the shorty or the XL. And then anything about using this as far as duration or frequency or different modes, go ahead and watch one of the other videos that focuses just on that. Okay. So lastly, if you want to move this, come around to the back, you'll go ahead and unlock the wheels. You want to be moving it from the vertical tubes, okay? You don't want to be grabbing it from the panel and trying to move it around like that. So grab up here, grab down here, and then you can move it around as needed.